This is called interdependency of the infrastructure, which that means like one infrastructure is dependent on other infrastructure. Like if the road is collapsed or road is blocked, then how good your hospital is, how good your administrative building is, it is not approachable. So road is connected with that particular infrastructure. Similarly, with the internet is breakdown, your bank will be non-functional, or all activity related to the internet will be not that much functional. So these are called the dependency factors with the different infrastructures. So there are few basic infrastructure which is very critical. All are critical, but these are the basic infrastructure and the for the critical infrastructure for the society: electricity supply, information communication technology, transport, and water supplies. There are few infrastructure you can categorize as socio-economic infrastructure and few also socio-cultural infrastructure. There are many more we can segment in these three boxes. So this is one diagram. Actually, it will clarify some of the concept, how one infrastructure is actually linked with other infrastructure. And that can be known or analyzed through the network theory, how much one infrastructure is depends on another one, and how actually you can calculate if it is impacted, how much impact will be propagated to the next one. So there are few scenarios. Left one is the not the realistic one. It's the scenario N1, N2, N3, N4, and Nx. It could be 5, 6, 7, 8 like this. So these are the different scenario we can generate to understand how in a situation of pandemic, if there is some sort of blockage in the road, or there is no train or no flight, how the other infrastructure or other activities will be impacted. So this is the process we can understand through the network theory. So these are the different scenarios can be generated. So the whole process actually right now going on towards the crisis management to the risk management. Previously, most of the countries are primarily focused on the crisis management. After the disaster is occurred, then people start thinking, okay, how to send relief, how to provide food and shelter and all this. But now it's shifting a little bit. It's called paradigm shift from thinking before. So if we think or plan before the disaster, then the disaster impact will be reduced a great extent. So India is also taking a lot of steps, developing cyclone shelter, early warning system, more better database, and all this are also generating the risk management process. So these are the system actually we can also discuss. Like there is a scientific knowledge group who are generating different type of knowledge products like risk map and other type of things. Accordingly, that things also should be propagated to the policy and decision making group. But this propagation or transfer one knowledge to another one, another group is not very clear. So that's why our decisions are not always based on the uh, actual information. Okay, so if we are not sort of follow the natural rules, or maybe the process of the proper planning or risk informed planning, we might face this type of difficulties. This photograph is from Uttarakhand. I spent about 8 years in that mountain. I'm sure like most of you are aware about Mussoorie. It's a very sort of known tourist place. So this is one part of that. It's not exactly Mussoorie. It's a little bit far northern part. And I'm sure like you are aware about 2013 flash flood in Uttarakhand. This is the picture from 2013 Uttarakhand flash flood. So I'm not sure like that time it was talked about the natural and man-made disasters. So what category that disaster will fall? It's a natural disaster or man-made disaster? Because it occurred naturally, started naturally because of the heavy rainfall and all this. But the disaster occurred due to the human interventions. Nobody says like you put your house or construct your house inside the river or very critical slopes or in a very sort of vulnerable location. You will construct your house. So nobody has asked like this, and these houses actually are actually constructed on the floodplains. So anytime any type of water flow, excess water flow, definitely it will be inundated. So this is the normal disaster management cycle we are following, simplified version. So these are the steps normally we checked in the pre-disaster situation, and some of the things we have checked in the post-disaster situation. This is the concept of the resilience. Some system or some individual or the group or the country or the community, if they are coming back from the disaster situation to the normal, this process is called the resilience. Like how fast they can come back to the normal situation is the ability of the system or the community to come back to the normal situation. Is also applicable naturally with the bamboo plants. There is something called Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction 2015-2030. In 2015, Sendai is one of the prefecture in Japan with one of the convention of UN um, General Assembly basically. So that time it was decided to develop global framework. It's a following a framework of 2005. This framework is providing some sort of guideline to all countries under the UN signatory um, to follow certain sort of priority areas to develop their capacity on the disaster risk management. So this is called, in short, SFDRR. This is also talks about primarily on the resilience, how we can improve the resilience. This is very interesting picture actually to understand how the disaster, that event is the disaster or any disruption is actually giving you down in all function, and then suddenly you will try to come back to this base level, and the time will increase based on your capacity. So if the capacity is high, so you'll come back very fast here. So if your capacity is low or resilience is low, so it will take very long time to come back to that normal level. This concept is also from the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, AR5. This is the annual report 5 from in 2014. This is very well established sort of concept on the risk. Now I'll show you some example.
Around the world, children in school facilities are a special category of people at risk.
3 countries were selected, under this project: Vietnam, Thailand, and Bangladesh. It is about the continuation of, the school education, particularly after the disaster, and particularly after flooding and waterlogging.
School education is a backbone of the country.
Dhaka, it's a very big city, very unmanageable.
This is one of the project I was doing with the University of Newcastle, Australia, in 3 countries: Bangladesh, Thailand, and Vietnam. This is the picture I have taken in some of the schools in Thailand. All are government school, and that schools are flood resilient school. So this school actually they constructed 45 years before, and you can see the entire school is on pillar. And this is we have visited that school during the flood time. So that particular area is very prone to flood. So they have started some process to reduce the flood impact. At the same time, the building is also made resilient for the flooding, so that the education for the school is not disrupted. So school education, we visited that school. It is a flood time. It is a moderate level flood, and we visited during the flood, and the school activity was going on absolutely normal. There is no disruption in the school days. So school is going as like normal time. So only they are closing if the flood is very high in an exceptional case, but in majority of the time the school is on. So this is one of the very good example for the resilience, how they have adapted it, not, and also the mainstreaming part, like how they have channelized that activity to the regular activity. So mainstreaming of this means like how you can channelize to the normal activity. This is also one of our activity in Vietnam, our visit last year with some of our partner in Vietnam and other universities also. So they have started some crop is called floating crop.